Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Dutchman and this is my ham, and I'm making this video real quick to let you know what has been happening recently by going over a news post that I think some of you may have missed, as well as add to that some of the more recent changes and updates to that list. I have here with me, it is that button, I do believe, there we go. The ModDB news post of the 4.0 mega update, which is, it is from a month ago, so it is news post. But it has a lot of important information here, and I want to add to that what has been happening recently. As you may know, the entire mod is getting a complete... it's not necessarily a facelift. I think somewhere here I worded it as the entire mod taking a shovel to the face. We are basically doing a lot of things at the same time right now. Ground combat is actually getting worked on again. I know it's been off and on. It's an off and on relationship, ground combat, but it is once more in production slowly though. Again, people have been bugging me about it, especially recently. And that's been going on for a long time. So, if there is an ETA on that, you will know about it. But there's also been a lot of other things going on. We are also completely overhauling the starbase system. We are overhauling the ground-based system, where we have... Actually, you know what? Let me just not give you the rundown. Let me just go by the list. I'll explain a little bit about what's been going on. Use this as bullet points. Then I will add to that later what else has been happening. And then I hope you'll be more informed as to what has been happening. The reason you haven't been seeing many updates on YouTube, ModDB, even the changelog channel right now, is that I don't like showing content that is not finished. Recently, we've had some talks about that, let's put it that way, and I have been fairly unhappy with how sometimes people present content that may not necessarily make it, and I want to make sure that we do not do that, and such only really update people on the things that are actually there in the game, and if not functional, at least close to that. So I'm gonna quickly go over this. That's the reason why you haven't, for example, been seeing a whole lot of stuff in the image section, because it's fairly boring to show a no, ain't nobody want to see that shit. Galactic conquest. We are currently working on overhauling the factions on the Galactic conquest map. We are going to implement a number of sub-factions that you will have to fight against, and I don't think that's actually mentioned here in this news post. There is also different planet types that are going to play a much more crucial role in your strategy, because you can now build specific star bases and specific ground buildings on specific planet types. For example, here I think I give an example of they vary depending on the type of planet you construct them on. For example, administration office for the Empire, most effective on an urban world, making 500 credits per turn, but on a barren world it will instead be a liability, costing 250 upkeep per turn. Stuff like that. In space, buildings currently are the same for each faction, will not vary in the planet type, but later date this may change. This is important. While it is nice to have varied structure selects for a player to choose from, it's also worth noting that the AI has been reworked to also build these. Now, this is a work in progress. Getting the AI to competently be able to build structures that have various effects on various worlds requires a lot more work. And thankfully, we now have people such as Burning and MWI who actually know how to make that happen. That are working on the mod full time, and that are actually capable of making that happen. As you may know, for the longest time, the remake mod used to be primarily me and Nico working, and we don't know shit about AI. So now that we actually have some people on the team that can do that, we no longer have to rely on, for example, the assistance of other people, such as the Awakening of the Rebellion mod. That has been a great help in that regard over the years. But we can actually start doing that stuff ourselves, and a lot more consistently and on a much bigger scale. So there's a lot of work to be done in that sense, especially because all these reworks are happening. In terms of reworks, right, ground combat, is it happening? Is it not happening? It's happening. It's been worked on again. Ground combat is a on and off relationship that we have. It has been worked on and off, but we are finally getting somewhere. No, it's not showable yet. No, there is no ETA. And yes, if there is one, or if there is even an ETA on when it's being shown, you will absolutely know about it. Trust me, I've been getting bugged about it pretty much every day. It's coming. Don't worry, you will know about it when it's happening. This has been talked about so much, been influenced so little with the latest release to Salem ground commentarily. The road from nowhere to rather ambitious plans for ground is long, right? While the foundations of the overall were put in place long ago, the work was stopped in favor of other tasks, and blah blah blah. Go read the news post for details. Faction-specific GC mechanics. Faction diversity is something I've personally always enjoyed in other RTSs. It's I think an important part of at least the RTSs that I played in my day. And Empire at War itself, aside from, for example, the corruption mechanic and the difference between how the Empire and the Rebellion gets their technology, which you could say the corruption mechanic for the Empire with the black, or for the consortium with the black market, is also kind of an extension of the tech system, but not really. There's not many faction-specific mechanics there to speak of. I'd like to implement some. Work in progress. Not yet happening. Skirmish. Skirmish has been getting a complete rework from the ground up. We have new star bases that you can build. We want to implement a system in which it is not just go for enemy mines and snipe them and then eventually try to bleed them dry over a battle of attrition. Would like to have different star bases. Actually, we already have different star bases that you can build around the map. We'd eventually like to have different objectives, which is not just, you know, go fight the enemy, but also things like go capture, for example, shipyards. And if you capture a certain amount of these shipyards, you can build, for example, a big, I don't know, Dreadnought or battlecruiser or something like that. That is not yet done. What is, however, done is new star bases that you can build on build paths around the map. And the AI is actually able to use these. This is the part that is actually pretty much done. It is out of the shovel to the face phase, and it is moving into the surgical plastic surgery phase. The Skirmish AI has been completely rewritten from the ground up to actually be competent in the order of structures that they build, because when you have things like production facilities and mines and defensive buildings that you can all build on like the same paths and stuff, it is so easy for the AI, especially in Empire at War, to completely shit itself on what do I do with any of these things. It's very easy for the AI to get stuck with either more production facilities and no mines, or a lot of mines and no production. Yeah, we don't want any of that. So the AI has been completely rewritten to actually build that in a competent order. And it actually works pretty well. I'm actually very, very happy with that, and NWI specifically has been doing an awesome job of that. Right, for more details, go read that section. Space combat. Space combat scene changes as well. The Starfighter rework from the last version, you guys may remember as the sacrifice to the FPS gods. The bloody sacrifice, and bloody it was. It completely kind of ruined how Starfighter combat looked. Stat-wise, it still worked relatively well, but not as well as before. I have been working, that is not in this post, that's something I can update you on. I have been working on a complete rework of our Starfighters, specifically with all new weapons, all new ordnance. We are differentiating things like anti-Starfighter missiles into a whole bunch of different things. Torpedoes, missiles, they can now all fire at both ships and starfighters, and via some damage matrix magic. I am currently trying to balance that out in a sense that you can fire different ordnance at different classes of ships, and it is not going to completely destroy the balance. Things like splitting lasers up into different calibers and such with different fire rates and accuracies and such, greatly inspired by, for example, what the Awakening of the Rebellion team currently is doing with their Starfighter overhaul. Yeah, but basically my version of it. All new stats. Starfighters will once again come in groups of 1. Squadrons are mostly 6 in size, but there is no more 10 fighters per squadron, no matter what kind of fighter you have. It is going to vary. And the difference between starfighters is going to be far more contrasted, depending on the armament and what they do, abilities, that sort of thing. And I've been hard at work on kind of coding that. I thought I could get that done a lot faster than I actually can. Still working on the hard points on that. Been working on it for a couple weeks now. But that is one of the things that has been going on. Again, not shown, not updated anywhere. ModDB practically doesn't even know about it. Why? Well, because it's not done. Still being coded. Yeah. That's why that has not been shown. Dreadnought phases, right? You guys may remember a while ago I was talking about phases, boss battle style phases on our Dreadnoughts and battle cruisers. That has been further implemented, and the biggest Dreadnoughts, the Eclipse, the Executor, the Viscount, and the Subjugator right now all have their phases. That is still going to require more testing. Because it's basically making a whole bunch of versions of the existing ships with unique weapons and abilities and such for each phase. So that is a wee bit of work, as you might imagine. Concussion missiles now debuff target speed. Right, this is basically the inception of what I did with the ordnance for the starfighters. I am not changing the ordnance types on starships because that would... I know myself, and I know where my mind goes, and the moment I start implementing shit like AP missiles and HA missiles and IAP shit like that on actual ships, I will want to rework all of the ship weapons. So that includes all the turbo lasers and all the everything. Every ship would then get a rework, and that alone would take months. We're not doing that. This is purely limited to the starfighters now. We're also planning to use combat mods on the different weapon types and such to kind of make the different weapon types more impactful. In fact, all the projects have already been coded. It's just that we don't got the goddamn starfighters coded to actually show them. So that's one of the many things that is just not done. VO, a ton of voice acting has been added. That's just one of the many things. Did I catch everything? I did say I was gonna make this video real quick. Public order system operational, right? That doesn't have any content to go with it though. Basically, a lot of content right now is being worked on at the same time. Half the mod is getting a... Right, I was gonna write some bullet points here, but then I figured I might as well just read off the bloody news post and add what is missing. A lot of the mod right now is getting a complete rework, with ground being added again and complicating the whole thing in GC with different planet types, with different build chains that can upgrade and that have like different upkeeps or incomes depending on what planet they're on, and trying to teach the AI don't build structures on planets that are not good to build there. That is all fairly, you know, the further you go with that, the more complicated it becomes. Those systems kind of interlock, obviously. At least if you want it to work well, it interlocks. So, yeah, that is a lot of testing and a lot of coding, especially when previously it used to be me and Nico mostly working on the remake mod with some much valued and appreciated help left and right from, for example, the Awakening team. I'm gonna keep mentioning them because they're heroes and they're truckers and they've helped us out a lot over the years, as well, of course, as various other people. Not to just credit them, of course. But when it is mostly me and Nico working on the mod, and we don't know how to do AI, and then we now have a couple of people, thankfully, burning MWI, who can actually do that. There is a lot of work to do in that department, and when there is so many overhauls and stuff for the AI that they need to take into account, otherwise we're gonna end up with a completely brain dead system. If the AI cannot use things like different building types and stuff, or they don't know what to build where, or we overcomplicate the build system with the planet types and such, then that ruins the entire experience, literally. Everything can work, and then the AI can like not know how to do one of these things, and it will completely destroy the experience. This is why it's a lot of work, and this is why it is taking a while. Rest assured, a lot of work is, however, being done. It is just that none of it is being shown for the aforementioned reasons. It's actually kind of funny. Let's try to make a list. Let's try to make a fun little list. Space combat is not being shown because the starfighters are getting completely reworked. The starfighters are currently not being shown because the new model files are not coded in the ship in the unit stats. Because the unit stats are not coded, the hardpoints and the projectiles are mostly coded. Projectiles are done, thankfully. The hardpoints are 2/3 of the way there, but we can't show any of that yet because, again, the starfighter stats themselves aren't working. We're not showing GC because ground isn't showable. The building chains are in fact there, but I'm not done with the star bases either, so that doesn't work. Ground combat itself doesn't have all the maps ported yet. And only the unit templates themselves are done, and that requires further working out to actually have the actual units, the final units. So we can't show that either because we partially don't have the maps and the prop setup yet, and then the ground. And with the ground units not being functional, the AI shits itself on a galactic level. Basically, the only thing that we can currently show off successfully is the space skirmish, and I think I have actually done so already in a video on the channel. Let's see. I think I even did a whole bunch of games against the AI specifically to show skirmish, medium high plus new bases defeat the Dutch. Right, this is basically a 45-minute video of me doing some AI matches. I don't know if I uploaded the entire thing. I did a few matches on that live stream. I don't know if I did multiple. A great example of unfinished content. Now, this is one of those it's not breaking the game examples, a missing texture. There are many examples that do completely break the game. And this is basically me going over the AI and the new bases. This actually has the bases already functional, and it shows the AI building them properly and how the AI basically completely destroys me right now. Which honestly is a good sign for me, at least. I'm kind of glad about that, because if I was able to smash the AI with the new buildings, that means something went horrifically wrong. And as I just said, if the AI only fucks up one of these elements, that kills the whole gameplay experience. So that is at least the one thing that is currently showable. I don't know anything other to talk about. No, not really. Let's surmise. We are working on a lot of things right now, the team. I don't like showing things that are not either showable or done. Showing spreadsheets is all nice in update videos, but that doesn't get you anywhere. That's not in the game, it's not ready, it's not functional. I can't put this in the hands of people and then tell them, hey, have a good time, enjoy. Ergo, I don't like hyping it up just yet. We are nearing completion on some of these projects, such as the skirmish stuff. But the majority of it is still in the shovel to the face phase, so to say, and it is slowly moving on, some of them, to the plastic surgery phase, which is where the systems are there and they're basically just getting perfected. That's how I word these things. Communication, gentlemen. It can be hard sometimes. Oh yeah, shit, I also forgot. We also... Ha! For the starbase overall to be shown off properly, we also gotta redo the space maps later down the line for all the new building markers to show up properly, because we can make the new buildings spawn in specific areas, and we need to do that. For example, we don't want the golems spawning way far away from the starbase at a marker where regularly maybe a sensor or a satellite defense grid or something spawns. Ergo, that too needs to be... It's interlocking. Several parts have to be finished here in a row for the whole thing to work. And when you literally you start digging in every system at the same time, suddenly you go from a mod that you could show and it worked with bugs and issues and random stuff that broke occasionally, to suddenly you can't show shit. Now that feels pretty bad. At least I feel pretty bad about it, because I can't update people with all the work that's being done, and that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that. I don't like that, because it seems like nothing is happening, which I don't like that. Anyhow, sometimes the changes are small. Let me see. Did we post the UI stuff on the changelog channel? No. Even the changelog channel has taken a back seat, because again, if I'm not updating people on, okay, all the new Starfighter projects have been recoded, or the hard points are halfway there, or I'm done setting up the new unit stats and stuff. Of course, that's all subject to change when we eventually get the beta in the hands of the testers. I do plan to, at least sometime in the near future, throw out a beta, which at this point is more like a technical alpha. We're actually regressing in playability due to all these systems getting reworked. Now, mind you, this is all a much needed thing. For Remake, I've always had much bigger plans in terms of what it could be and what it should be. It's just that when it was just me and Nico, we didn't really have the manpower to really do that. Or the expertise. Thankfully, now that the team has grown a bit, we can do more. And we kind of decided, okay, well, shall we try to do the things that I think we can do? And we decided, yeah, let's do that. And so everything is being done at once right now. Because different people, different whatever. Yeah, lots of things happening. I was talking about the beta, right? When the Starfighter overhaul is eventually done and the rework is there will be a lengthy balancing period, obviously, for the new Starfighters. And there will be a beta for that, or a technical alpha, or however we're going to call that. That will then show how well that does or doesn't work. There will be probably multiple betas / alphas in the future to test different systems. When the time comes for the beta, there will be a call for beta testers. Don't all mass join up just yet. It's not done yet. We're not ready. We're not ready for the beta to go live yet, or the alpha, however we're gonna call it. So yeah, reason for the lack of updates, work that's being done, updates on the news post that weren't in the news post, beta upcoming. I think we about have everything. Yeah. So yeah, much needed reworks in basically every single area of the mod. The entire game is getting reworked except for basically the space combat. No, that's wrong. Basically everything is getting reworked except for the ship versus ship combat. That's it. Starfighters are getting completely redone from the ground up. Starbases, well, they're only used to be one starbase, and now suddenly we have, boom, multiple. We got golems, we got economic structures, we got and then teach the AI to do it all properly. Again, nothing kills game experience like brain dead AI or AI that does stupid shit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the brief 24.5-minute update video. stay tuned for more updates. I don't want to say get excited just yet, because I don't want to start building any kind of hype train unless we're actually ready to show off what should be hyped here. This is just an update video telling you there has been happening, things have been happening. We just can't show it off currently, at least most of it. Stuff that has been shown off, skirmish shit. If you're interested, you can go watch that video. For now, thank you for watching. Have yourself a good day, a good night, evening, whatever it may be for you at your local place. And bye-bye.